All right. Hello, everybody. And it is another beautiful Wednesday. And I am really overselling it because I am half asleep here. I wish I could say half in the bag, but that's not the case. I am just dead tired because things have been rough for the last couple of weeks. But anyway, I'm your host, Mac Paladin, and this is Moonhawk Studios Presents. And we do, in fact, have a guest for tonight. And we will be getting to that shortly. But first, we got to do our traditional, usual stuff here. Let's get down to the introductions. Of course, we have the regular crew here. We have Adam and the Hizzy.
It is known.
Mm-hmm. Kevin's lurking around the corner. Maybe.
Maybe. Who knows?
You didn't have anything to say, like hello, or
I was trying to be unique this week, but yeah. Hi, how y'all doing?
There you go. Where the hell am I? Petty Fan.
I exist, maybe.
The Golix is here.
Yes, that is a thing that I am.
Everybody's trying to make me panic. It's like, oh, I'm having technical difficulties.
Well, I'm doing my Swedish practice on Duolingo right now, so I had myself muted.
Okay. And of course, rounding out our 5-person band, Darius, who's playing Overwatch and not paying attention to the podcast.
Sorry. Well,
And not
Anyway,
a fucking 10.
it's been a long freaking day. We got stuck on base for how long?
It was at least an hour. At least an hour. We were just sitting there behind cars.
Yeah, it was mostly stationary the entire time, just sitting there. My phone actually died.
The Veterans Administration is situated on an old Army base here in Tucson. And so it has pretty damn tight security.
The base is itself a veteran, you might say.
Yes, that would be an accurate statement. All right. Allegedly, we have a great show for you tonight, and we're going to be working towards that as we speak. But let's get down the rundown on the week, the news. Adam, why don't you give us a start, and I'll work on my language skills.
Oh, Rosetta Stone?
No, I was talking about speaking my primary language, but thanks.
Yes, the English as a second language for English speakers course.
I was like this close to blurting out word salad.
Anyway, today was fairly busy dealing with some, let's say, fragment stuff. Just some dramatics and getting my guests to my show this week because they forgot when the interview was happening.
Oh, that's always fun.
Oh yeah. It's fun getting accused of doing shit that, and how you're being unprofessional. Like, it took a lot to not explode, but things got sorted out when, especially when they saw the chat log. But
Tells all.
Let's go to the transcript. Thumps down a 400-page document.
It didn't need to be that long. I'm just like, you agreed to this time, this date, and I'm like, I put it out there because you didn't chime in that you were going on vacation, like, and how the hell was I supposed to know that?
Oh, that's my favorite.
Oh boy.
Yeah, like I said, it got and I'm like, and they saw and like, oh, so they apologized and it all got sorted out. So I'm like, just that kind of ruined my lunch though, because I cooked a nice chicken dinner anyway, and I guess I'm sort of in a tentative position to what might be one of the bigger fragments interviews should it go through, but that's all I can say at this point. Like, real legends of the industry stuff.
Okay.
Like,
I'll take your word for it. We've gotten some big fish before.
I'm like, trust me, it was surreal getting a notice from, let's just say, a person who created some of the games I grew up on, which has happened before on my program. But
There you
anyway, yeah. Anyway, in other news, gearing up for my mother's birthday next week. Got to figure out flowers and dinner arrangements and all that stuff.
go. Right.
And that's about it from me.
All right. Kevin, you're up.
Well, I'm basically going to be quick. It's basically the same old around here. Weekends at the AMC doing greeter, and I'm basically slow until my first of 2 weeks off coming up on the 27th. So, nothing really much going on around here.
All right. Eddie Fan?
Let's see. Overall, been fairly quiet. We tried using the T-Mobile 5G home internet for a while. Turns out that doesn't have quite enough bandwidth to stream the podcast stuff. So,
Oh, no.
unfortunately, we have to go back to the cable provider.
What? Cellular service is somehow inferior? I can't imagine that.
Well, I mean, if we would have been able to use it, we would have saved like $50 a month.
Yeah. I looked into it here in Tucson, and it looked kind of sus.
Yeah.
They had
I mean, it's not that bad. If it was just me, it probably could have made it work. But there are 3 other people in the house.
Yeah. And that's when they throttle you.
Maybe.
I don't know. There's something about loads on cellular networks and quotas and queuing, and it's just a mess. It's just a mess. All right, Alex, what you got cooking?
Well, this weekend, I was reminded in the previous show that I still need to do my taxes because I was going to do them this past weekend, but we had a Clear Skies power outage. Which completely threw off my Saturday. I understand that for those of us who live in Arizona, the concept of a Clear Skies power outage is more of a duh. But that's because you guys have power outages because too many people use their air conditioners and not usually because of storms.
Tucson has a shockingly solid power grid, and for whatever reason, Arizona doesn't do water shortages or rolling brownouts. Even though technically we should have both.
But you don't lose power because of rainstorms, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Anyway,
even when we do have rainstorms, which are torrential.
And I had the rather annoying video gaming experience of losing probably a few dozen hours of progress in Super Robot Wars 30 due to an in-game time limit between missions. Like, you only have so many missions you can do between 2 things that I didn't know was there. So my choices are either miss out on a couple of significant things, or just go back to a save from literally the previous chapter, which is what I'm working on now. But that's rather annoying because I put in a lot of time for that, so. Otherwise, things seem to be going mostly well. The car work I had to have done did not end up being anything more than I was thinking it would be, so that was a pleasant surprise. And I've been kind of interested in that new space-flavored Coke. Which I don't know if any of you have tried.
It tastes like a galaxy exploding in your mouth.
Allegedly, it tastes like stargazing or something. I frankly think it tastes like one of those highly saturated pictures of a nebula, if anything,
So
because it's kind of fruity.
So it tastes like synesthesia.
A little bit. I don't know what they friggin' mean by space flavored, but that's the closest I get from it.
Leave it to Coca-Cola Corporation to take a legitimate neurological disorder and turn it into a marketing scheme.
But that's about all I got.
All right. Well, Kira, you're up.
All right. Well, so I don't really have a whole lot of news. Like I said, everything was kind of blah today. I had to go get blood drawn because the lab forgot last time. And we managed to actually get it together this time, but so, at least there was that. So it was literally, I walk in and within 5 minutes I'm out and back in the car. There was just a really long wait in the car.
Yeah, we
So-
were there for God knows
Yeah.
what. Somebody probably running around with a squirt gun that looked like a real gun or something, and they put everybody on lockdown.
It was actually a rare imported Megatron toy.
But
I mean, but like, my week has been pretty kind of average, I suppose. Nothing super great, nothing super bad. Everything's just kind of, we're good. The flow. There we go. That's the flow. The spice must flow. That's no. Okay.
as long as we're not talking about no, no.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think I was going to say, but I guarantee
I don't
you,
know, but no, I don't know.
I guarantee you, whatever you thought, it might actually be worse.
Oh God. No, I have no idea. Anyway, that's really kind of it for me for news.
All right.
No.
All right. Anyway, while I'm over here self-censoring myself, let's see. Working on film-related stuff as always. Trying to wrangle artists so that way we can get comics made is always a top priority at this phase of the game. Missed quite a lot of streams in the past week. No MS Saga, no Bayonetta on Sunday, and then on Tuesday, I just kind of, the only polite way to put it is bypassed my Trovo stream of Garena Free Fire Max because I was trying to get both my gaming machine and the new streaming machine that I just set up to cooperate with one another. Because
that was an adventure too. No kidding. Last night.
Yeah, I was throwing objects and curses. I was throwing unforgivable curses at just about everything, and I got this. So I think I may have mentioned this last week. I may not have. I think I mentioned it on one of my game streams. But the computer store that I worked for almost 14 years is shutting down at the end of this week. The owner is in his 70s and he's retiring now. And I've been in the market for a while for a number of things. Now, those of you who know me well know that my entire streaming rig is a vast command center that occupies a quarter of our living room.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking 9 computers, 12 monitors. There's a TV, a VCR. There's a 50-inch TV behind me. I have a Canon camcorder DV camera hooked up to FireWire. I got studio lighting. I got multiple webcams. I have an iPhone 7 hooked up as a webcam, as well as a micro console. I use my iPhone 8. I have an iPad. I have a tablet PC for art. There's keyboards everywhere. There's parts adorning the desk behind me for those of you who watch my visual streams. I need to replace a tablet monitor that my cats used to dive bomb on and literally crack the chassis in half.
Fine.
So while this store was shutting down, one of the aspects of my channel is that it is Mac Paladin's Retro Gaming Emporium. And I promised the viewers long ago that aside from the emulators for many of the consoles, because I just get crisper video quality and snappier response by using emulators for games that I own, Aside from that, when it comes to PC gaming, if I play any vintage or retro gaming, I want to play them as much on original hardware as possible, especially stuff from the 3DFX era. And I had this little misadventure where I found out that used 3DFX cards, being 20 years old and being a apparently highly sought after niche market, are in the several $100 range. For things like, I found $187 plus $49 shipping from the UK for Voodoo 3 2000 AGP, and a Voodoo 2 1000 12 megabyte add-on board going for 250, and so on and so forth. And I'm sure there are some people that are literally just giving this away because they're like, oh, I don't care about this junk, you know. But they're few and far between. I mean, even crappy stuff like Creative Labs, Voodoo Banshees, and stuff like that, just not that commonplace. So I was digging through the bins at the surplus store and found a Voodoo 3 2000 AGP. This is several months back for $5, and it's just been sitting in my drawer. I had no idea if it worked. I was just like, oh. So, you know, I had a vintage machine that I had set up that I bought from my old boss when I was still working there for like $10. It was Celeron 400, but it had an 810 chipset motherboard on it, and it only had PCI. Well, because he's closing down, he said, take whatever you want from recycling. I only get $50 no matter how much or how little I get. And I'm like, shit. So I found a Dell Dimension 4100 beige tower, which is a 933 megahertz Pentium 3, stuck in the AGP card. Works like a champ. So last night I ordered a special conversion box. The seller, I put it on watch a while back, and normally retails for about $170, and it allows you to capture analog signal as well as digital signals and work as a standalone OBS box. So that piece is coming in. But yeah, I've got my I ordered the Cinemaster C decoder card because long ago, I promised the stream that I was going to play Wing Commander for the Price of Freedom DVD edition. And it only works with 16-bit hardware decoder cards with any efficiency. There is a patch. We're not going to talk about that. But yeah, it's like 16-bit. The video stutters if you try to run it in any video mode other than 640 by 480. Better to run it on original hardware than it is to try to fool around and find out. That's all I can say about that. And so I'm very pleased to report that I got that. But the hassle was that I also got an HP Compaq Elite business class computer. It's got an i5. I put 16 gigs of RAM in it, put a solid state drive in it. But it was small. And so I said to myself, ooh, geez, I'll run Linux on this thing. It'll be great. Yeah, apparently Linux doesn't support this generic capture device that I've got, at least as far as audio input. And I had to keep uninstalling. Yeah, and I had, well, you see, and then I have SLI graphics card set up in my gaming box. I have dual GTX 760s because, you know, video cards ain't cheap right now, so you got to get what you get. And every time I would change the ports to try to duplicate the displays so I could record the same screen I was looking at, it just went blank. And the even funnier part was when I would disconnect the video plug from one video card and plug it into the other one, it would say that it was still plugged into the first one. So yeah,
it was. He got very mad about it yesterday.
Luckily, I didn't throw the computer, otherwise I'd probably be living alone right now. Everybody would have packed up and took their cats and went to a hotel. But I do have some restraint. But yeah, I ended up utterly destroying this 2010 model Mac Mini that has been defunct for years due to obsolescence to dig out its 120 gig OCZ solid state drive that's in it, because the 32 gig drive I ended up putting Windows 10 Professional on this machine because it has an onboard certificate of authenticity for Windows 8 Professional. So I ended up just sticking Windows 10 on there and saying the hell with it. And then as soon as I got it installed on there, the 32 gig drive has 1.7 gigabytes of free space on it. And it likes to reset the video drivers because insufficient space for swap file. Which freezes the video stream, which means it would be no good as a streaming machine. So yeah, I'm going to be spending tonight, at least a portion of tonight before I go to work, farting around with that. So that's my trials and tribulations. That and last week we almost got the power shut off, so, yay me. I worked that out. I got some help from various people, brokered some deals, sold some souls. Metaphorically speaking, as far as you know. Yeah. So yeah.
It better be metaphorical speaking. The actual street value of a soul is shit right now.
Yeah. So, but my command center is almost complete. Like I said, I almost have the analog capture device in hand. It should be here on the 1st or 2nd, so that way I can actually start streaming retro gaming off of both vintage consoles and from the Dell Dimension 4100. And once that's in play, then I can start a new casual gaming show where I will play arcade games from like Neo Geo and stuff like that I have on there. Because the best emulator for Neo Geo is Neo Rage, but not the current Windows iteration of it. The best version that I ever had was 0.6b made by the original people. And that doesn't run past Windows 2000.
Yeah, we went on a quest to see if we could find a version that would, and it wouldn't.
Yeah, you have to download the special ROM package in order to, which has pretty much every game in it, and it still doesn't work. And MAME is a joke, and I don't even want to get into it. So yeah, so my command center is almost complete, and the only thing after that I will need really is a monitor arm for my 24-inch TV, so that way I can play Bayonetta without looking at the stupid little Wii U gamepad screen, which is 6.7 inches, 7 inches, I think. Yeah, a little 6-inch screen trying to play an action game made by Platinum. Good luck.
It's not large, yes.
Yeah. It's slightly larger than my iPhone 8. Yeah. And I have a device that allows me to output my iPhone to HDMI so I can play it on a 23-inch monitor, play Call of Duty Mobile on a 23-inch monitor. So, So that's it for the news. Now, to get to the moment that everybody has been waiting for with bated breath, and not bait breath. Here we go for the interview. And also, I didn't get a chance to do a quick shout out here. Hello to Alina in the chat. All right. Our guest tonight is Scott Sandler of the Nickelodeon Fan Club podcast and a writer.
It's actually not a podcast. It's just a Twitter account.
It's a what now?
The Twitter account currently known as the Nickelodeon Podcast.
No, I don't have a podcast of my own.
The Nickelodeon Fan Club is the Twitter account.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the Nickelodeon Fan Club and a writer for the Cartoon Crave. Scott, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm also a writer on What's on Paramount Plus with that blog, and I'm also applying for what's it again? Culture Site. They have an MCU site. They have a Star Wars site. Yeah, so I was something of a writer when I was in middle school, but I kind of made it too daunting for myself, and I kind of just abandoned the project. So.
I see.
But yeah.
So, Let's start out easy here. When we first started talking over Twitter, you told me that you inherited the Nickelodeon Fan Club page. So tell us about that. How did that come about?
Um, so there was this guy, Michael Sands, who was pretending to be like a liaison for Viacom, who like for to an insider for like, and they actually were claiming to be directly affiliated with Nickelodeon.
He
Oh,
was doing the My Uncle Works for Nintendo, except for it's Nickelodeon and like me.
Yeah, and there there was this girl. I was noticing it, and so was this girl named Jasmine, who's G Ev No E Rebody,
Hmm.
and so uh, she got him to grant her access and run run the account, and then she changed the password on him, and then we basically had to do it again,
Hmm.
and then they created like a third kind of Nick Fan Club account, but um, I seized that and made it into one of my alts,
Hmm.
and then well, I used to my main account used to be DigiRanger 1994, and I had over 3,300 followers. In January 2020, through the simple use of pronouns, my main was suspended, and so I basically took refuge in the Nick Fan Club account because all my other alts were less desirable to do so, and like I didn't want to flip them or have that be where I use Twitter mainly from, and so I've been basically um, it, it the Nick Fan Club basically became my main account in refuge.
Hmm.
And I mean, I I was looking back, and I think it seemed like I first encountered Kevin back in 2013. So
Yeah.
we've known each other a while now.
Yeah.
okay.
And
How what so you know Kevin from before.
yeah, and
How did you guys bond?
Basically going back and forth over whatever the news was,
mhm.
pretty much.
And I think the first interaction we had was about SpongeBob.
Okay.
I had looked back just to see where exactly it was, at least of what I could tell without my old account visible.
Hmm.
Or
Yeah.
All right. And what exactly is the purpose behind the Nickelodeon Fan Club? I mean, obviously, on the tin it talks. You're talking about Nickelodeon and their doings, but like, is there like a deeper purpose in mind here, or is it just a
I
love of the game?
I mean I while I have made it my main, and so it's kind of been it's not as um, solid as the like it. I do try to at least keep the main purpose around, and but it's kind of because it now doubles as my main.
Are we losing you? Because
No, I'm just trying to put my words together.
oh, okay. Take your time. I'm sorry. I thought we were having technical difficulties. I'm sorry about that.
No,
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and um, I'm
Take your
I'm
time. We're
glad
all
that
friends here.
yeah, I'm glad that I was able to use that my experience running it got me the What's on Paramount Plus gig, and it of course I use my own name for like writing the article, so it but yeah, it's got all kinds of purpose.
Okay. So tell us a little more about your Paramount Plus gig.
Uh, I'm on the writing staff for What's on Paramount Plus. I'm probably going to be, be writing reviews. Well, the first article I wrote was in November for the Allowed House Christmas movie, the
Okay.
live action, and with the befuddlingly greenlit Very Odd Parents live action series premiering tomorrow, I'm probably going to be writing reviews for them episode by episode, since they're all coming out all at once tomorrow.
Oh, that should be exciting.
Yeah,
I say good luck to you, sir.
I know. I actually started rewatching the series today, the original series today, and the first 13 episodes hold up pretty well, but it was weird coming upon some of them, because you think it's a little it was when it was seasoned and well, like, but it comes up much sooner than you expect, and it's yeah, it's been pretty great. And I would say that Fairly Odd Parents was the second Nicktoon to be considered my favorite after Rugrats. Like,
Mm.
and what I mean by that is, like, you'd usually hear second favorite. Like, it it's clearer to say that than second favorite Nicktoon. Like, it's the ranking as of like now.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, while I'm talking a lot about Nickelodeon stuff right now, I've got interests way across, like, not just the kids networks, but your normal primetime network programming, your streaming shows. And I've it's just I, I wouldn't say I'm completely pigeonholed by running the account,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like um, there are going to be encounters where it feels like it.
Hmm.
Um, like last May, I I mean I did a full watch through of every piece of Rugrats content, all both series and all five movies, the three theatrical and the two Tales from the Crib, which I had actually never seen before. Because when when I was when I was a kid, I really didn't ask for a lot. So like, and like even now, I although it might be for different reasons, but like I don't buy DVDs a lot, and so the those movies never aired. Like, I don't remember them. Like, the two Tales from the Crib movies, I don't remember them ever airing on Nickelodeon.
Hmm.
I on like from for the early part of my year, I just did I had done a full Doctor Who watch through, and that included watching Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures for the first time.
No small undertaking.
Yeah, and then I did I, and then in mid-February I started South Park,
Hmm.
and I ended last on I finished on the day of the season finale of the most recent season finale.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
And that also took me across multiple platforms because I had to go for their 3 movies to Paramount Plus because of course it wouldn't be on HBO Max. Okay, maybe the first movie would, but and and then for some reason I moved from South Park to Whose Line Is It Anyway, which has like over 300 episodes itself.
That's not
Across.
a cartoon at all, but it is very good.
Hmm.
Yeah, so well, Doctor Who isn't a well. Okay, there could be a case where
There's a
Okay,
couple
yeah,
of
fair enough.
animated
Doctor Who
episodes.
isn't either.
but yeah, that has like 300 episodes itself. I'm in season 4 now, and I was I had seen some of it on ABC Family, but I didn't think it didn't grab me at the time, and I even in the CW era, I kind of just it didn't grab me, but now it has, and I'm really enjoying that. I've had admittedly a lot of time to to watch streaming stuff, and I um it hasn't been a fantastic 10 years employment wise since graduating high school, and yeah, but that's not really for here. Um, but yeah, I I don't even on I don't even turn on my cable until usually 5 o'clock
Hmm.
when the Simpsons reruns come on FXX. And
All
yeah,
right, all right. So, you mentioned some more adult animation there, of course, like FXX, of course, has Archer, and you mentioned.
I've been I started watching Adult Swim at at 12 on a camp trip,
Okay.
and because we were in a hotel room, and so whoever wanted to watch, and I remember my first episode of Futurama being Fry and the Swarm Factory. I think my first Family Guy episode was uh, the Family Guy Freaking Sweet Christmas, the first Christmas episode they had, the only one they had at the time that the episode that I first watched the episode,
Uh huh.
and then that after that night, that next season was when I started watching Fox's Sunday Night Lineup.
All right.
Your Simpsons, your I guess King of the Hill, American Dad, Family Guy, Cleveland Show, Bob's Burgers.
All right. So besides animation, are there any other things that you're into reviewing and talking about?
Oh yeah, certainly. Um I I had, I think like I believe the first time that I had started watching the network primetime shows regularly was '04 with. Well, it was basically around that time as well, and I think my three biggest shows that like I'm also into like your NBC comedies. I've watched The Goldberg since episode one. But my three biggest are Glee, Once Upon a Time, and Agents of Shield. And I've also loved How I Met Your Mother and Parks and Rec, The Office, 30 Rock. I've got a very wide array of shows that I. Oh, and I'm also very big on the Arrowverse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear there's a lot to admire there.
And I I basically started on the Flash first because, well, first of all, the at the time it was only the Flash and Arrow, so it oh, and um I had also taken on Smallville right after. Well, it was my first full watch through. Um, right after Tom and Erica were announced for their Crisis cameo, and that was a show that I had first watched because my of a sixth grade homework assignment that had us identifying the five W's and the how or whatever it was, and uh, it it wasn't. I had chosen it probably because of the brand recognition, and then I know that I had um, fallen off by the time it moved to Fridays, but like season 7 and 8, um, well, 6, 7, and 8 were the seasons that I had remember, and then I had come back for the 10th, and then when I had when I had finished Smallville, that's when Disney Plus came about. So I had worked through Gargoyles, Darkwing Duck, Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, um, X-Men Evolution, and then I, the last one of the last big binges I took was doing both Boy and Girl Meets World. So all those episodes.
Ooh, that's a time gap.
Yeah, and it got done like um it you could see that. How do I put it? Yeah, and I just wish that oh, and my first big binge project of quarantine was the entire Stargate franchise. SG-1, Atlantis, and Universe, um, and I and Star Trek. I had started in July 2016 because of a Trekkie friend's birthday, and it turns out it took me 3 years exactly to make it through all of pre-Discovery Trek, which and
Pretty
modern
good
Trek.
pace.
Uh, it and ironically enough, it was the original series that took me the longest, and that
Oh.
was like over a year to just do the 78 or just do however many episodes, because I think in the 10 months after I started Next Generation, that took me like all the episodes from Next Generation onward took me only a few months longer than the original series did, and admittedly I didn't finish the original animated series, but and then when I got Paramount Plus, I caught up on Modern Trek, which I'm a big fan of it.
I'm a fan myself, and I've tried selling it to people because I keep trying to make them understand that a lot of the criticisms that people have now are no different than the ones that were issued when, say, Star Trek the Motion Picture changed all the technology and scenery after only an 18-month period, story-wise, and because they had a bigger budget and they were able to do much flashier things with it. And kind of the same goes for some of the visual and technological and personal retcons. It's like, well, yeah, some of the stuff that Pike said in 1964 doesn't sound so good in a 2016 and later audience. So maybe less Neanderthal and more compassionate explorer.
Yeah, and
We actually had this conversation in the car while we were in that traffic jam.
I'm sorry, you were going to say something, Scott?
and I remember around the time that I was, I think, really. I think when I started DS9, I was also working through Gears and eventually and yeah, Gears and I did Gears and Frasier from about February to November 2018. After, uh, because pop culture osmosis can really do a lot. It was the moment in the Good Place second season finale where they put Michael behind the bar, and so yeah, I did that, and I did Supernatural during its final month on air, like all 300 or so episodes. And I watched the final 2 episodes live, even though I wasn't quite caught up.
All right.
And when I had done my Supernatural binge, the only 2 episodes I had seen. Okay, it was actually 3, but I don't know the title of the third. Like, I still don't remember the title of the third one because I didn't have it. I didn't have a remote control to actually see the display because it was the remote wasn't available to me. But yeah, the 2 episodes were The French Mistake and Scooby Natural, which were
Classics to be
probably
sure.
two um the the two most meta episodes other than the 200th. The fan fiction one with the supernatural uh, with the play about their story.
Right. that and the one where Sam and Dean keep jumping through different television shows oddly
Yeah.
about their lives.
That was season
Mhm.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's the whole know your role thing. I'm the supernatural fan over here.
Hmm.
I was a fan, but that was because I watched it with my ex, so that's kind of a weird point for me.
And the show that I got into last year without ever actually, okay, I didn't actually get to binge it, but I still got really into it. It's just the accessibility and was Red Dwarf.
Hmm. You know, I really need to get caught up on that. Ever since Series 9 came out 13 years ago, I have not been able to catch up with it.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I've wanted to, but also up until recently, getting a hold of it has been kind of difficult.
Hmm.
Like if you don't have BritBox or something like that, it can be a bit challenging.
Yeah, that's
Although,
basically what stopped me from.
yeah, I think with HBO Max now we get a lot of the BBC stuff, don't we, Kira?
Some of it, yeah, but it's more of the current stuff. Like, but
And
we're still like hop, skip, and jump behind.
and and yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Kevin, it's out of the bag. You and Scott have known each other at least casually for a while. Is there anything I'm missing here?
I'm missing much. I mean, it's basically a back and forth over the topics of the day,
I see.
to be perfectly honest. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I was kind of like I didn't even really start podcasting until um I I the start of last year when
Mm-hmm.
I had I had been doing a um in the lead up to the election um uh, a content creator uh he was doing charity streams um for voting enfranchisement,
Hmm.
trying to get people to register to vote. And well, it was watching a bunch of Power Rangers, and uh, I had just gotten my laptop back after over 2 years separated from it.
Oh wow.
It's a and if I had trusted my equipment even then, well, even between my phone and my laptop, which I probably if I had trusted the equipment, I probably would have been um, I probably would have been podcasting and chatting sooner. But I thought my equipment had to be like complex and updated, and I didn't have like an external mic, and I still don't have an external mic, like a physical unbuilt in. So it 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 was those live streams that I was on a Skype call for that I I trusted the equipment. And I've been on Podcasts Without a Cool Acronym, The Emperor's New Podcast, Realm of Immersion, uh, Spencer in the City, and Renegade Pop Culture Podcast. And the last episode, I really tried to make myself available, and I I think if I had trusted my equipment sooner. I think I think the friends I would have made would the friends I know I've made on Twitter, it would probably be even closer. But like I managed to meet up with one person for the riff tracks of um hold on. It was I believe it was Crow. But otherwise I haven't quite met up with other people and and then with uh,
All right.
I would definitely meet up want to meet up with some.
Is there all right? So as we wind towards the end of the interview here, is there anything upcoming that you want people to pay particular attention to?
I do know that I have an upcoming episode of the podcast without a cool acronym um, about the fifth episode of the Proud Family Louder and Prouder. I've got my interview with Culture Slate tomorrow, and I'll be writing for them if I get on. And
All right, and
yeah,
okay, and any public appearances you might be making anytime soon?
uh, I don't think so. I have I don't quite have much to me.
Well, I thought
I,
maybe guesting at somebody's table or something. You know, just
I have never been to a convention.
really. Oh,
Yeah, as much as I'd like to, it's
Yeah, they're not for everyone.
yeah.
And also, they're not everywhere.
yeah, and I don't drive, and um, I because I haven't had I because of my job situation, I haven't I haven't built up quite enough of an income to not only justify the convention tickets, but like whatever else I'd want to buy at the con, and you know it's I'd love to be at conventions, but it just hasn't worked out, especially in the last couple of years where it's been where it's been closed off anyway.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I got some good news for you. You made it through our little interview, and I think we got some really good material. So
I hope I was entertaining enough.
I think we got some good. I think we got some good information, and if you're keen on it, stick around with us. We're gonna be delving further into animation and Oscar snubs. So
Mm-hmm.
in our roundtable discussion. So if you'd like to participate in that, by all means, you're welcome to stick around.
Oh, certainly.
All right. All right. Well, that's That's Scott Sandler, everybody. So again, thank you for coming out for the interview, and now we're going to get to the entertainment news with Adam and Kevin.
So let's see. The Oscars happened.
That was definitely a thing.
Are you sure? I couldn't tell by Twitter.
Well, it's like,
I
mean,
the thing about it was that until a certain moment we will not discuss happened, it pretty much was like it was like an situation. It was like
there weren't a ton of interesting things going on.
Well, I mean,
until an interesting thing happened.
Yeah. Well, the only really questionable things were the choices of music for the presenters that were coming up on the stage. That was pretty much it. And I'm trying to think if the in memoriam happened after the moment or before. That was another thing that was a topic of conversation about how it was more of an uplifting gospel-like death in memoriam segment rather than the usual typical sad ballad.
But there were two key omissions there.
They went that like I wasn't paying as much attention after the first two walk-ups, but it so like I wasn't sure if they kept up with the non-movie music, but all the movie music that I was hearing was in the end credits mute. It was in the end credits with there was some E.T., there was some Let It Go.
Yeah. I mean, when I was talking about the whole choice of musical accompaniments, you had two plaque presenters coming onto the stage to Toto's Africa.
Yep.
And the introduction to the I don't know. It was the one of the voice actors of Encanto was brought up to La Isla Bonita.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, there was that. And it was like it wasn't really anything too buzz-inducing. Like it was fine, I guess. It was it didn't feel like a show that people were going to be talking about tomorrow morning. It was just basically fine. It's not going to be basement dwelling, in the ratings. It'll probably get a little bit of a tick up because there's nowhere to go but up after a historically low year. And
second lowest ratings ever.
Yeah. Well, second lowest
for the ceremony.
Yeah.
Well, second lowest since the 70s. From what I read, it was second lowest since the 70s. But yeah, but it was also a case of it being higher than last year, which, there's nowhere to go but up. And then that moment happened, which caused from what I read, about 500,000 people to go, wait, what? And grab the remote control.
Well, and there was a lot of significant snubs too. You had the whole Sam Jackson Special Lifetime Achievement Award that they didn't even televise, and then you totally skipped two of the most significant comedians who died in the last year being completely omitted from the in memoriam segment.
What were those? Who were those again?
Norm Macdonald and
Bob Saget.
Bob Saget. Brain not working here.
Yeah.
And they completely omitted them, and it's just like, are you kidding me?
I guess the people involved in the Oscars didn't know about that movie they did, and even though that Bob Saget also had a very memorable cameo in another movie. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, both of them had television. And they, it's like even if they weren't the focus, they've been everywhere in Hollywood. They should have been. They should have been in
the montage. Yeah,
they should have been in the montage.
It's especially weird because while Bob was mostly a TV person, his show was basically all about amateur filmmakers.
Yeah. I mean, he did have film credits, so. basically, if you have a film credit and you're a big star, they would find your way into the montage.
They moved William Hurt to third.
Yeah.
And
Although that might be a case of it probably be a little bit more recent. Maybe. I don't know.
I thought that was weird though, because I thought that the whole purpose of the in memoriam segment was to highlight stars who had passed away in the previous year, and Bob Saget being the last one of 2021.
Yeah.
William
No,
Hurt
you would
died
think-
in 2022. Theoretically, he should be honored in the next Oscar show.
Well, basically, if basically you could be on that in memoriam list until the day of the show. Because the day of I guess probably in more specifically the week of the show, because you gotta have time to edit it in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically up to the week of the show, because the show basically is the end date for any award show calendar, no matter what award show it is, like Grammys or stuff like that.
And for those of us who have lengthy retail careers under our belts, that is also the fiscal year end. It's typically when the Oscars show up.
And,
basically, it's like the day of the show.
Betty getting the tribute she did made a lot of sense, because it was less than 3 months at the time. To wait to the Emmys would be another 6 months.
Right. Right. So, I mean, that was he got one. Ivan Reitman got one with Bill Murray. And
Yeah.
They got Tyler Perry.
Yeah, what was the other snub you were talking about, Mac?
I think I covered him. There was the Sam Jackson not getting his segment televised.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
That's kind of significant.
Yeah. Usually...
But you know what we did get? We got
on,
Tony Hawk introducing a retrospective on James Bond.
That was interesting. That
sounds irrelevant.
Yeah.
No, it sounds desperately like they're trying to be relevant.
And
I don't think that's even desperate.
They're trying to be relevant by using Tony Hawk?
Hang on. Guys, go ahead. Hold on, guys.
No, that was the We Don't Talk About Bruno performance.
Tony
trying to stay relevant. Because they altered the lyrics.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Mm-hmm.
I need to get a quip in there before Kevin moves on to an actually salient point, and that is, isn't Tony Hawk technically past expiration date? Like, isn't he past the effable stage? He's in his 50s now, right?
No,
isn't that the rule? Isn't that the rule?
No, he's still a figure. But going back to your thing, Mac, they usually don't, have a full showing of the Governor's Awards, which is what that was.
Mm-hmm.
They usually don't show that in full, but they do usually have a couple of days ago we had this, and they had it, and they show like video clips of it,
Right.
Like they record, like basically would be like a 2, 3, 4 minute segment, or basically would be something that would help introduce like 2 presenters who won awards from that night. So. But, Samuel Jackson, he got one of those. He basically got a presenting role at the end of the night, so.
Better than nothing, I guess.
But, yeah, better than nothing on that front.
Speaking of assaulters getting awards, the Oscar, the fan vote category was rated by the Snyder Cult.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, yeah. Along with the whole... we're going to present 8 categories an hour before the show, and somehow edited it into the show to make it seem like it's actually happening live when it actually wasn't. And
sounds like a hard thing to pull off.
Yeah, well, it worked with some, it didn't work for others, and there was one category where the winner wasn't even there, and Jason Momoa had to say that we accept on their behalf, which Jason Momoa and I forgot who the other guy was, were the ones who presented those 8.
And Momoa was front and center for Will's Best Actor speech. He was staring right up at him.
Which, by the way, nobody stopped from happening, even though they could have. But we're getting into territory that we promised not to talk about. So, um,
Well,
I think we should talk about the
only because everybody and their mama has been talking it to death.
right, yeah, exactly.
I don't think there's anything we can add to it without trying to
Going
talk about
into-
some race issue that we're not qualified to speak on.
Yes, that we will be going into some very dangerous territory that we
Yeah.
don't feel comfortable going into.
Yeah, so I mean that's why
So, I mean,
I'm conspicuously omitting it from the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, we all know what happened. We all have our thoughts about it. We've already made our positions clear about it. I mean, it's at this point, the take oven is already overheated, and we don't need to add to it.
Yep.
As it were. So
Yeah.
I think we should talk about
there were some nice highlights. Of course, the whole segment with Lady Gaga and Liza Minnelli was beautiful.
It was beautiful, but it also to me was pretty sad because, when you think of Liza Minnelli, you think of her, being, powerful in terms of voice and in terms of appearance and performance, and to see her as that, actually being her age, it's like it kind of was a punch to the gut.
It looked like she lost a lot of body mass.
Yeah, she was shaking in that wheelchair too, but
well,
it wasn't in a way that was exploitative because Gaga did a very good job at respecting her and to help help the moment along as well. So
yeah, if it had been anyone else up there, it might not have gone as well.
Yeah, it could have gone very, very horribly when you're dealing with an aging starlet like that.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is, I think it was handled really well because there was some grace and charm to the whole thing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what about that? I thought I read something about a hearing impaired actor who got an award that was very significant.
Troy
actor.
Go ahead.
Troy Couture.
Yeah,
won Best Supporting Actor for Coda, which also won Best Picture.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Coda is very much a story about hearing about a girl who has parents who are hearing impaired, and it's a very powerful, moving movie that actually was actually not the favorite until like a couple of weeks ago. Like that was the favorite for a long time was Power of the Dog by Jane Campion, but a couple of weeks ago the script flipped when the Writers Guild and the SAG decided to hook up with the Coda instead. So I mean, when you got a movie that has a powerful story that focuses on a unique set of individuals, I mean, it's Oscar bait.
Right.
Which in this case is not a bad thing. I mean, there are a lot of Oscar bait films that are Green Book.
Yeah. When they get it right and make people feel seen, it's always worth noting.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. In this situation, it's a better situation than it was a couple of years ago with Green Book. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, folks, yes, Green Book did win the Best Picture at the Academy Awards. That did happen. Mm-hmm. Kind of forgot about it with the pandemic, but it happened.
Yeah.
All right. I think we didn't talk about the main topic of discussion that we wanted to talk about from the Oscars, though.
And that is?
The animation department? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so every animation person on my timeline has been very angrily buzzing about this for days now. Mm-hmm. And that's, Hollywood's continued insistence on insulting animation at every turn.
Yes.
Because the presenters not only that, but it starts with one of the 8 off-voted categories being Best Animated Short.
Yes, that was one of the 8. Yes.
Yeah. So, and then comes how they presented best animated feature.
Well, I think the first one was I think it was before that, but Amy Schumer in one of the bits was talking about how Encanto was this thing that she played for her children, and they played
Yeah.
it on and on and on and on.
Yeah, that was the I believe that was the opening monologue actually.
Yeah, that was in the opening monologue. It was the opening tip, and then they get to the actual segment with the best animated film, which, and I mean no disrespect to them, was
Mitchell.
presented by 3 lead actresses of the the series of Walt Disney films that I like to lovingly refer to as Creep films. Creep as in copyright renewal, extension, and exploitation program. It's my little way of naming these movies that are live action movies. Some of them are live action, some of them are live action in air quotes. That basically are essentially putting wallpaper over their animated film library. So, no disrespect to them. They probably got their roles and they love their roles simply from their love of the original film, which, that's fine. I don't diss them at all for it. But then they read the teleprompter. And it pretty much was another case of, animation is, something you put on for your kids, and maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Which is, of course, pretty insulting considering.
No. The exact words were, it's something kids enjoy and adults have to endure.
Right. That
Yeah.
that was it. Yeah. Which is pretty insulting on a number of levels. Let me count the ways. First of all, there are grown people who put countless hours and effort into these films, and especially considering that this was another COVID year,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them worked from home, which was which is pretty hard to do.
It undermines adults make up probably 98 to 99% of animated staff, and the
Right.
only and the 1 to 2% that are kids are exclusively voice actors.
Right, exactly. And even then, not really that much anymore on high profile projects. Another reason why this was particularly offensive in this particular year was because one of the nominees for Best Animated Film in particular, and that is Flea, which is a animated documentary that tells the story of an Afghan refugee. And not just any Afghan refugee, but a gay Afghan refugee.
And that's even leaving off stuff like Leaving Vincent and
Mm-hmm. And yes, it's also because of the fact that, animation, that adult animation is a very large percentage of is a growing percentage of the entertainment landscape at the moment.
Starship Moonhawk is adult animation. It's
Exactly, you're a part of that. So
I'm a part of
I
that.
think like one of the voters or something like voted for like Encarto or Enchanto or
Encanto.
what is
Encanto.
it? Yeah, because that's the one that their kids saw.
Well, no, that's literally the ongoing quote-unquote joke, because it's literally true and has been admitted to multiple times by multiple people that when the Academy selectors are voting for Best Animation picks,
Yes.
they just vote for the Disney one because Disney's the company they've heard of and they haven't seen any of them and don't care.
And of course,
Yeah,
this year we had a literal split, which we don't usually have. Here's a little bit of the problem with that is that the Annie Awards, which is the animation industry exclusive awards, they gave it to Mitchell versus the Machines from Netflix. Which, by the way, the movie actually put up a tweet the day after the Oscars, noting animation is cinema, because they were pretty much offended by that whole deal. But yeah, the Annies chose that movie. Meanwhile, the Oscars chose Encanto, and likely because a lot of their kids watched the film. Although, I mean, I don't think that's any solace to Lin-Manuel Miranda, who lost out on any chance of getting the ECOT this year, even though this is probably his best chance in a long time. Although that might be because of the fact that Disney didn't see the Bruno phenomenon coming. Because you can't when you got to submit a theme for the Oscars in November, and in either I think it was either November or October, and then the film comes out like a couple weeks later, and Bruno gets going on TikTok in December.
Well,
So-
and they were also too busy in the making of Encanto to. Well, no, never mind. That was about the Academy, not about Disney.
Right,
Sorry.
but yeah, this.
I was just
but
gonna
yeah.
make a joke about the Buff sister and how she was way more popular than they expected.
well, yeah, there's that. So, but yeah, that was pretty much the big thing that had everybody talking that wasn't involving two certain comedians. But
And to top it all off, the Animation Guild is fighting for
that too,
Im-
yes, that
improved pay and
Mhm.
working conditions, and
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
which basically moves an upgrade from borderline sweatshop to reasonable.
right. That also makes this whole demeaning thing that they did the other night kind of insulting because you do have literally hundreds of animators right now who are literally trying to get better wages and working conditions. And meanwhile, at the same time, you have the situation where their industry is demeaned as something, for children, to pretty much distract and their parents to deal with, which you know really insults them.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Which really, so yeah. So there you go.
Well. All right. Any final thoughts here? We've run a little over time, but that's okay. I don't want to end abruptly.
No, I think we've covered all of our bases, and I think we should just go ahead and wrap up.
All right. Unless I hear back from John Broughton of Farragut Films claiming that spot, next week is going to be a Inside the Studio episode because we haven't yet scheduled a guest, and I don't want to scramble for this. So, like I said, unless somebody has somebody who's easy training wheels interview that is just a friend of the show or something that wants to jump in and occupy our time for 45 minutes, I'm not going to force anybody into that position of trying to schedule at the last minute. It was just one of those things where I was planning on doing stuff over the last 2 weeks, and it really didn't get there.
You had other things to worry about.
Yeah, like avoiding
Avoiding
homelessness.
having your power shut down. Yes. And
Yeah.
having other things. Yes.
Yeah, and having your power shut down leads to other problems like potential eviction because of the way state laws are set up. Because if you don't pay the penalties and get it turned back on in a timely fashion, they can throw you out for not having electrical power. Like even if you went off grid and I bought like a solar generator or something like that, they don't consider that to be legal. You have to have a power bill, which is asinine. But that's how America rolls.
It is what it is.
Right. But like I said, getting the command center set up, and next week will be kind of an easy skate week where we're going to talk about whatever's on our minds. It doesn't have to specifically be entertainment, but we'll be having more of a sort of
Basically, it's a free episode.
Yeah, it's a free for all. We're gonna be chit chatting about
Whatever.
Indeed,
Right.
whether it's entertainment or politics or just reflecting on what we've accomplished so far since coming back. I know it's not a ton of episodes, but we have done some significant stuff here, so it might be good to reflect on that a little bit and see where we want to go in the future. Other than that, of course, Final Fantasy IV, the complete collection, continues tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific. I will be starting the second segment of our long play of the entire complete collection, which is Final Fantasy IV Interlude. And that is the 12 to 20 hour chapter that takes place 1 year after the events of Final Fantasy IV. So I'm kind of interested to see where that goes. I've never played it. I haven't even started it. I've watched no videos of it, and I know nothing about it, but I did find one walkthrough guide that will kind of sort of get me through it, just so that way I can keep things moving at a reasonable clip, and get any optional extras for cheap thrills for our subscribers and whatnot. So that will be happening. I did finally get my second subscriber on Monday. City of Heroes has been going great. And Shadows Mist and I have been growing our channels heroically. Thanks to our efforts there. We did a almost 5.5 hour stream, which is kind of impressive considering we started at 9 p.m. But we did a 5-hour stream. She got rated like 2 or 3 times, and I got at least 5 new followers. So that's pretty great, I think. And hopefully we'll be able to continue that momentum. And I'm working very hard not to mess up my my chances on Trovo. As I said, I've been using that primarily for mobile gaming because that seems like that's their little corner of the internet. And so Friday, of course, I'll be there at from 9 to 11 playing Call of Duty Mobile, and then Saturday Overwatch. So that's our sort of weekend review. And Galix and I will be returning, of course, on Sunday for more MS Saga: A New Dawn. Hopefully, we'll actually start. We'll resume our climb to the end game content. Maybe tackle another moon base or something. Who knows? But yeah, that's it for this week. So again, thank you, Scott, for being on the show and contributing to our roundtable discussion.
Glad to have been here.
Yeah, it was great having you. And if anything comes up, of course, we'll let you know and have you back on the show at some point. Especially if you have anything interesting you'd like to share yourself, let us know, and we'll see what we can do. All right, that's our show for this week, folks. So, of course, I'm Mac Paladin on behalf of the crew of Moonhawk Studios Presents. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, kids.